What's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG, WTF, LOL, TWBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2001. More importantly, of course, we're playing we're booking the Invasion angle. And we're going to be running Monday Night Nitro tonight. We're going to see the finale of Round 1, or the end of Round 1 of King of the Ring, when Mark Jindrak, WCW's Mark Jindrak, takes on Rikishi, and WWF's WCW's Rey Mysterio takes on WWF's Malenko. But speaking of Mark Jindrak, we had a locker room update. The Undertaker, always as active as he is with his mentorship over Mark Jindrak. This time he was passing along tips of working as a babyface to Mark Jindrak. So if that's something we ever want to visit in the future, Taker apparently has our back. Either way, though, like I said, we are going to be running WCW Nitro, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I don't want to let myself down, but I didn't check this in the video last week, which is stupid, but we did indeed have 2 weeks in a row of A ratings for Nitro, so let's see if we can get a third A in a row for Nitro here. We did get 3 in a row when I guess unless you count Heat, but I don't like to count Heat. Either way, we have a couple pre-show matches, and our first pre-show match, we get a C rating, and about that had Subpar Wrestling on Little Heat. Jerry Lynn defeating Gregory Helms and Jamie Noble, when Lynn defeated Noble with the Tornado DDT. Noble's getting better at his gimmick. Gregory had a D+, as did Jamie Noble, and Jerry Lynn had a C, so there you have that. Just, this match is really nothing too special. I haven't used any of these guys in a while, so I figured why not put them in a triple threat match. Pretty much all I did. Lynn and Noble are both improving in performance skills. So moving on to our another C match, we see another theme here. I haven't used Big Boss Man and Hardcore Holly in a while, so we go to a C rating in a poor pre-show match. Big Boss Man defeating Hardcore Holly with the Bubba Slam. I don't think I booked did I book people to win these? No, see, I didn't book people to win these. The game decided it. Boss Man had a C-, and Hardcore Holly had a C-. Looks like it doesn't. A Wild Brawl doesn't seem like it benefits both of them. We then go to a C+ to end off the pre-show, in a decent pre-show match. Rhino, not making his in-ring debut, or in-ring return, I should say, technically, but why not get him on the card? Because I didn't put Sean Stasiak on the card since Mark Jindrak was in one-on-one action. Rhino defeating Sean Stasiak with the Gore. Regal, of course, doing good work ringside. Stasiak and Rhino have good chemistry, so that lifted the match. Rhino with a B performance, good on him, and Stasiak with that C. So I believe after this, we're going to start off the show. We open up with an A rating. Hell yeah, good thing to open up the night with. Nitro opens up with Diamond Dallas Page. He's making his way down to the ring. Music is playing. He's got a big smile on his face. Once in the ring, DDP takes the mic and he says, "Boy, does it feel good to be me right now. I'm home at Nitro with my people. And man, does it feel great to be the people's champion again. But it'll feel even better when I beat Booker T at King of the Ring and become your four-time WCW World Champion." Yeah, I like the ring to that. And that's when Booker T's music hits. "Can you dig it, sucker?" And he makes his way down to the ring. He's definitely angry. You can tell by the look in his face. He gets in the ring and he says, "Tell me you didn't just say that. Tell me you didn't just come out here and mock me. You know, Paige, you used to be cool. You used to be the locker room leader. But ever since you beat Rock, you let your ego go to your head. I know Rock and I look alike. You know, a lot of people say I'm the better looking of the two, but anyway, the point is, I ain't the Rock. And you step up to me, you're gonna get punked." It's a little tension here with my best Booker T impersonation ever. Sound like DMX, I think. Little tension here. Booker T does not take too kindly to DDP kind of mocking him with that 4-time segment right there. And I guess Booker T laying it out to him. He pretty much straight up says, "You're letting your ego go to head ever since you beat The Rock." Even says thinks he's better looking than The Rock. But he says, you step up to me, you're going to get punked. But that's when Chris Jericho's music hits, breaks the walls down, and he comes out, stands at the entryway, and he says, ahem. Excuse me, boys. I don't mean to interrupt. Oh, wait. Yeah, I do. I don't mean to rain on your parade, Booker. But Paige may have not beaten you, but I have. In fact, I made you tap out. Booker T's just, you shut your mouth, Jericho. And then Jericho says, oh no. And as for you, Paige, you may have beaten The Rock. Big whoop. I've beaten Dwayne more times than I can count. But you've never beaten me. And as far as I'm concerned, if you want a shot at Whoopi T's world title, then you're going to have to go through me, senior, because I'm next in line. But then The Rock's music hits, and he joins Jericho at the entryway, and he says, you've beat The Rock so many times you can't remember. Is that right, Jericho? The Rock thinks he's whooped your ass so hard because you must have forgotten the amount of times The Rock's laid the smackdown on your candy ass. As for you two in the ring, we've got unfinished business. You still owe The Rock a match, Diamond Dallas Page, and as far as The Rock's concerned, he'd be the WCW World Champion right now if it wasn't for DDP himself, so you owe me a title match, Booker T. So are you ready to go one-on-one with the Great One at King of the Ring, Book? Because The Rock is casting in on his shot, but that's when Jericho interrupts and he says, no! Shut up! You had your chance, Dwayne. Book is mine. DDP then chimes in. He says, children, let's not forget that technically I'm the #1 contender. And then finally, Shane McMahon's Here Comes the Money hits over the stereo system, whatever, and out he comes, and he says, all right, here's how we're going to do this. DDP is right. He won last week, so no matter what happens, he and Book are facing at King of the Ring. But you two, as much as I hate to admit it, have your points. So this is what we're going to do tonight. You two are going to team up and face the Steiner brothers, Scott and Rick Steiner. And if you somehow manage to win, then at King of the Ring, it'll be Booker T versus Diamond Dallas Page versus Chris Jericho versus The Rock for the WCW World Championship. But if you lose, then I don't want to see either of you two on Nitro ever again. Take it or leave it. And then he just leaves. Shane McMahon, obviously frustrated that WWF guys are still showing up on the show. Not too happy when it's on the other side of the, the foot. I don't know what the hell the phrase is. Not too happy when it's happening to him, when the invasion's going off with him. So we have our main event match of the night. Shane McMahon, despite Booker T's clear displeasure, as he can, probably, what the hell you doing, Shane, in the ring and all that. Shane McMahon giving Booker T and Chris Jericho and The Rock their chance. If they're able to beat the Steiner brothers tonight, they will go on to take on both DDP and Booker T in a fatal four-way match for the world title. But can they work together? That's what Shane's banking on. Either way, everybody went off script here, and as you can see, it definitely benefited. Diamond Dallas Page clearly enjoyed having the freedom of going off script. Booker T was superb working without a script. He had the palm, or the crowd. I almost said the palm in the crowd hole. Either way, he had the crowd in the palm of his hand. Rock was masterful with his interaction with the crowd. Shane McMahon did a masterful job. The only one who really didn't do anything was Chris Jericho, but he wasn't bad. So, there you go. And look at this. The announcing quality lifted the segment. Color commentary. This is all good. DDP looked good. Booker T was a star. Jericho came across. This was a good segment, nerds and geeks. So we move on to the next segment. We get a B-. Hell yeah, that's great. B- to start off the night in wrestling. And about that had decent wrestling, but not much weighing heat. Dean Malenko defeating Rey Mysterio Jr. by submission with the Texas Cloverleaf to get himself, not a title shot, I don't know why I was about to say that, to get himself further into the King of the Ring. And we now know that in round 2, it'll be Dean Malenko versus Chris Benoit in round 2 of the King of the Ring. So just one more left in round 1. And I guess, in a way, maybe I was saying championship match because Rey Mysterio is a champion. Dean Malenko just beat the champion. Maybe Dean Malenko get another shot. But he did make him tap out, so that's definitely newsworthy right there. Both superstars with the C+, but got a B- together. Good for you. I wonder what their other match did. Might have been around the same thing. Wow, we then go to another B-. This is a good show so far. We might be able to get this A after all. Another B-. Backstage, we see Mark Jindrak. He's warming up for his King of the Ring match later on tonight against Rikishi. when Lord Steven Regal approaches him and he says, "Excuse me, Mr. Jindrak. I just wanted to stop by and wish you luck and give you some advice in your matchup against Rikishi. Now don't let him fool you. Rikishi may look like all fun and games, but the man is a former Intercontinental Champion for a reason. Plus, he loves to psych people up by shoving his big buttocks in your face. A truly, unenjoyable experience. You'll be wise to avoid that. Most of all, Rikishi's a veteran, so be on top of your game tonight, lad." And that's pretty much it. Just, I guess they start walking to the ring while they're like, "Oh, we're going to see Rikishi take on Mark Jindrak next," or something. And pretty much just a hype segment for Regal, hyping up Mark Jindrak for the match. And it did get the crowd hotter. People are buying into Mark Jindrak. This is good. I'm happy with this. We then go to a B+ backstage. We see, well, I don't know why this is backstage. I'd imagine this probably be in the ring, actually. I don't know why I did this. Either way, we see Ron Simmons. He's requested this time to talk, and he says, "Last week I was disrespected when Chris Benoit tossed the hardcore title aside to me, letting me just have it and saying it's below him, meaning that I'm below him too. This championship deserves better than it just to be tossed around like a hot potato. So tonight, I'm issuing an open challenge to anyone out there that wants this hardcore championship. And Benoit, I hope to see you out there so I can get my pride back." So pretty much Ron Simmons, he was insulted last week. Benoit not only beat him for the hardcore title, but pretty much then just laughed saying, "Hardcore title's below me, but you can have it back, Ron." And that, in a way, Ron's right. That pretty much just said that he's below him too. So issues an open challenge to anyone. Wants Chris Benoit to accept it. Unfortunately, it won't be Chris Benoit because out comes Bubba Ray Dudley, and we have a hardcore title match that gets a solid B rating. Hell yeah, that's excellent. Solid B rating in a decent match. Ron Simmons defeating Bubba Ray Dudley in 7 minutes, 36 seconds with the Dominator, making his first defense of the Hardcore Championship. This was our Wild Brawl match of the night. Color commentary, of course, doing well. Simmons had a B-, and Bubba Ray Dudley had a C+. No worker improvements. But, of course, we go here. And Bubba Ray Dudley being well booked, being well suited for this style. Good stuff all around. I'm happy with this. B rating, good job. Then we go to a B- before we go back to commercial, or before going to commercial break. We go backstage. We see Edge and Christian. They're, of course, going over the King of the Ring, and Edge is like, "So Lean Dean beat Little Ray tonight, eh?" And then Christian responds, "Yeah, but it doesn't matter because he's taking on," and then he does this in his best Ric Flair impersonation, "the Canadian Crippler." Oh, by the way, sucks for you. You've got Mr. Personality Lance Storm next week. I bet against you, so maybe help a brother out. And then Edge just goes, "Wait, you bet against me? What the hell, man? Wait, how much did you put on yourself? I mean, either way, you're facing Big Booty Kishi or Mr. Perfection Mark Jindrak." Christian then replies, "I'm not worried. I'm going all the way, which is why I put it all on me. I'm a huge underdog to my surprise, so I'm going to make big." And then Edge just kind of stands there in disbelief when Kurt Angle walks in and he says, "Boys, are you guys ready tonight? Tonight is special. We've got to keep our momentum on our side when we face our King of the Ring competitors. Aside from you, Christian. But still, be on your A game, because our match is next." And then we go to our commercial break, pretty much. So there you have that. And I had a little fun writing this segment, because I'd imagine Edge and Christian giving them all nicknames. So Lean Dean is because, he's kind of, a chunky cruiserweight, so I thought that'd be funny. And then Little Ray's obvious because he's little. Canadian Crippler, that's what they call Chris Benoit. Mr. Personality is, one of his nicknames from back at WWF because Lance Storm doesn't have a personality. And then Big Booty Kishi because, well, obvious reasons. And Mr. Perfection because, why not? Either way, though, this comes up to our next match, as Kurt Angle apparently looked good, and Edge is learning to show more charisma, but it leads into our next match, which gets a solid B, 6-man action, as Team Wreck, Edge, Christian, and Kurt Angle, battling WCW's Chris Benoit, Lance Storm, and Chuck Palumbo, and about that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. Edge, Christian, and Angle defeating Benoit, Storm, and Palumbo, when Edge beat Lance Storm with the spear, proving Christian wrong, and pinning Lance Storm. Look at him go. He might be able to beat Lance Storm after all next week. Of course, as we already know, Edge and Lance Storm will be facing off, and Kurt Angle and Palumbo will be facing. And we now know that Benoit will be facing Dean Malenko, and we'll find out if Christian will battle Rikishi or Mark Jindrak next. So Benoit looked good out there. Kurt Angle had an A rating. Christian had a B. Edge had a B minus. Wow. Christian was better than Edge tonight. Chuck Palumbo had a C+, Lance Storm had a B, and Benoit had an A. So Palumbo being the weakest, and Benoit and Kurt Angle, of course, being the best, which doesn't surprise me. Benoit is also improving in performance, so that's a plus. We then go to our next match, which gets a C+, not too bad, but not too great either, just pretty average. But average, better than average, I guess, because it got that plus. In a decent match, Mark Jindrak defeating Rikishi with the mark of perfection. That's why I called him Mr. Perfection. That's why. And Mark Jindrak officially moving along into round 2 of the King of the Ring tournament, and he will battle Christian in round 2. Thus ending round 1. So let's go ahead and erase all this. Okay, hold on. There we go. And we fixed it. So round 2 will consist of Christian versus Mark Jindrak, Edge versus Lance Storm, Kurt Angle versus Chuck Palumbo, and Chris Benoit versus Dean Malenko. Regal did good work ringside. Of course, the announce team did good work as well. And Jindrak had a C. Rikishi had a C+. Jindrak's not too far behind a veteran like Rikishi. Good on you. We move to the next segment, which gets a C rating. Not too shabby as well. C rating in an extremely short match. Disco Inferno makes his return just to come and job to the Big Show, or excuse me, the Giant, in 1 minute and 58 seconds with the choke slam. And there you have it. How fun is that? Giant looked excellent out there, had an in-ring performance of an A. Disco had a D-. This isn't a permanent return. Inferno is... what am I saying? Return. It's not a permanent return. Disco Inferno is in our developmental system. I figured why not bring him up because he's a familiar face, and he can just easily job out to the Giant for me. Also, he's improving in performance, so it helped him in the long run. Curiosity. Let's look at his stuff. High morale. There's that. Doing very done to a hot crowd. He's got a poor gimmick, inconsistency, and he's at poor at being a babyface, unfortunately. Either way, we go to our next segment, which gets a holy hell almighty A-star rating. After the match, we hear Taker's bike as he races down to the ring. Giant, he's on edge because he's ready to take him on. He wasn't even in a long match, so let's go ahead and do this. Taker, he parks the ring, or parks the mic, not the mic, what am I saying? I get ahead of myself when I talk. He parks the bike, he takes the mic, and he says, "Easy there, big..." My buddy Chris Omega is actually probably going to be mad I didn't let him do this. But whatever, Chris, sorry, I forgot to tell you. "Easy there, big guy. I'm not here to fight. At least not yet. You see, you and I have been at each other's throats since you turned your back on the WWF and Invasion, when you took my baby brother out. Ever since then, we've been costing each other matches, brawling on site, and even costing each other chances at the world titles. Well, I'm done with this cat and mouse game. I say at King of the Ring, you versus me in a no-holds-barred match. What do you say, you giant bitch?" And then Giant just takes the mic and he says, "You're on." And that sets up a match at King of the Ring, which will see the Undertaker battle the Giant. Not that. Hold on. Book match. Got to make sure we get it right. Is there just a 1v1 no holds bar? Doesn't look like it. So wouldn't it be like no DQ or what the hell's... Where Aussie rules, I guess, would be it. They don't have no holds bar. Doesn't look like it. So let's go ahead and just do Aussie rules. It's one of my favorite matches. It's pretty much just the basic match. So the Undertaker versus the Giant at King of the Ring. They're sick of each other. They're gonna go at it finally. King of the Ring so far looking not too shabby. Undertaker versus Giant. Hardy Boys versus Steiner Brothers. That's up for debate. Austin versus Triple H and Lita versus Jacqueline so far. Not too shabby. This did really well. A-star. Taker's a good guy. Heenan was pretty weak, unfortunate, and so was Mike Tenay. Dusty Rhodes, on the other hand, not weak. And then we go to our main event of the night, which gets a B-. A little unfortunate. I was hoping to see this do a little better. Either way, and about that had superb wrestling and good heat. The Rock and Chris Jericho defeating the Steiner brothers when Rock defeated Rick Steiner with the People's Elbow after we had a distraction from both the Hardy Boys, not just Matt. So I'm I don't know what I'd imagine. I'd imagine the Hardys coming out, maybe not distracting Rick Steiner, but more distracting Scott Steiner enough to allow Rock to hit the people's elbow. And there you go. So Rick Steiner was the weak link, of course, but that doesn't surprise me. He was struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance. Scott and Rick are getting better at their gimmick. Of course, they're excellent, great chemistry working together. And it looks like Rock and Jericho were able to work together to get the match. But we'll book that in a second. Let's finish this, actually. So Heenan was weak, unfortunately, again, but that's okay. Jericho had an A rating. Rock had an A star, as did Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner and Rock, both A stars. Steiner's up there. He's good. He's good. Jericho had an A, and Rick Steiner over here with a C+. So there you have that. Rick Steiner's also improving in performance, but like I said, this thus confirms that at King of the Ring, it will not just be Booker T versus Diamond Dallas Page. No. Because tonight, it has been confirmed that at the pay-per-view, we will see a fatal four-way match as Booker T defends his WCW championship against Chris Jericho, Diamond Dallas Page, and The Rock. And I'm really excited for that match. I think that match is going to be excellent. WCW World Championship. I might even close the show with that match. Boom. Boom. I wonder if I can type all this in. WWF. Nope, can't do it. So just put Booker T as champion, and we'll leave it at that. We know who's where. And that doesn't quite end off the show as we move to the next segment and we get an A-star. Hell yes. As Rock and Jericho, they pull off the upset victory. And that's when Booker T and DDP, they look to capitalize on this. And they race down to the ring looking to attack their rivals. And the four men begin the brawl. And at first, the WCW originals, Booker T and DDP, they got control, taking them out. And then that's when Jericho and Rock managed to finally get back on track. Of course, more like they're working together, and that's what gets them back on track, because teamwork is the best. And they send their foes out of the ring and packing up to the back as they pose to end off Monday Night Nitro, standing tall. Heenan and Tenay still weak, but I'm going to stop covering that. Jericho came across well. Rock came across well. DDP was good and gained heat to both the Jericho Booker T and Rock and DDP storyline. We end off the show. Oh, no! No! I was really thinking that A-star was going to put us over, but I think the main event match being, that B- is what put us down. Gosh darn it! Nitro ends its streak of A's only at 2 in a row as we get a B+ rating, so close, increasing our popularity in 7 regions. We were this close. It was right there. That guy looks like an older that could be Big E's dad, Mr. Hughes. We did get the top rating. Awesome. The show's getting fantastic reviews. Liger left Noah. Is he still in New Japan? Yeah, he's still there. New Japan apparently is still getting people, as it always says. Oh boy, what Scott Steiner said. Gregory Helms doesn't connect with the fans. You should probably write the kid off. Thank you, Scott Steiner. Well, that's a bit of a bummer, but either way, let's check off storylines before we end this off. So look at that. A. This doesn't really matter that much. That's a Heat storyline, but C-, A-star, hell yeah. B+, B+, C+, B+, C. Still good stuff going on here. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, Nerds and Geeks. My name's been OMGWTF, LOLFTWBRB. Like I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor, comment, like, subscribe if you have not already. And as always, I will see you guys in the next episode, which is our Sunday Night Heat. But for those of you who don't watch Heat, I'll see you on Monday Night Raw. So until then, have a great day.